It's a great day to be an American as the USA hockey team completely dominates Canada yesterday. Um, Listen, I'm not a hockey guy at all, but it's like at all. But that was one of the greatest sporting events I've ever watched in my life. Just the fights right off the rip. Us to go to Canada, Montreal, and beat them in their own sport was great. Um, but I know
After
today's a
getting
very
booed.
special. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a great day to be an American. It's a very special day as well as we welcome in our new co-host Ned. He's an SEC hoops enthusiast, along with being a huge mass hole. Um, but I know he had a pretty hefty wager on USA last night. So without further ado, Ned, welcome to tailgating with the boys.
Super excited to get started. Yeah, like Brody said, I'm a big masshole. I think that's one of the things he really hates about me. If I'm being honest, dude, I love mass. I'm a certified Yankee, man. So excited to hop on. Join you guys, provide some different insights, some different opinions. One of my biggest hobbies nowadays is losing bets. So
Yeah.
hopefully, maybe I'll go on like a little bit of like
You and everybody else.
Stanford Steve role where like maybe we'll do like here's what the full fade Ned, but we'll get that going and it was a great week in college basketball, dude. It was Valentine's Day on Friday. Personally, I know myself. I don't have a Valentine, and but who needs it when you got a slate like we did yesterday, dude? Who needs that shit? Especially in the SEC, man. I'll start there. I'll
Yes.
start
Yeah.
there. Alabama, Auburn, Brody. What do we think? Did you watch the game, dude?
I watched the full game and I told you I had Auburn. I don't think Bama's that good. I think Mark Sears is either completely going to lose him a game or completely going to win him a game. But for Auburn to go in there and dominate, man, I mean they're the clear favorite to win the whole thing. And
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're a really good basketball team. Just it's going to be hard to stop them in the tournament. And I mean Johnny Broom is great. He's 25 playing college basketball, but he's
Yeah.
still great.
Yeah.
Um,
Time
but
to get a job, I
yeah,
think.
Yeah.
I think Bama has a bit of a Mark Sears problem. Um, I think they do better when he's off the court. Yeah, he hits some dagger threes here and there, but their offense runs a lot more smooth with him off the court. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but
Well, I mean, Bama just has so many different scorers on different levels. Like they have Broom, but their guard play is also incredible as well, and have double-digit scores every single night from their guard position as well. Whereas Bama really has Spears leading the way for everything, and yes, they have guys getting in double digits here and there, but not as consistent as Auburn does. So I think
Mm.
that's what puts Auburn ahead of a lot of these other teams in the country is they have multiple 15 plus scorers every single night. It's not just Broom; it's all these other guys. But I do think those are clearly the top two teams in the SEC right now. Um, I mean, you have Tennessee, you have Kentucky, Florida's playing well as well. Ole Miss hasn't played well over the last week and a half or so, but they've been pretty good all year. But I think Auburn's in a tier of their own, and I think Bama's probably in that second tier of their own by themselves as well for right now.
Yeah. Um, Dude, my big note, I thought that game was fucking awesome. Dude, I love watching
It was
Alabama
great.
play.
It was
Like,
insane.
like, their pace is insane. Like, the way it's just NASCAR, dude,
Yeah, it's
up and down the
always.
court. My big note for them, like, I watch a lot of Alabama. I'm still a believer.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of Alabama. Play Aiden Holloway more, you know? Why,
Mm-hmm.
when he's on the court, he flows so well. And he's a dog, man. And they gotta
I
give that
agree.
guy more minutes. Youngblood's a good shooter, I,
Yeah.
I don't think Mark Sear. You saw last year, they play so fast that if they have like a slow start shooting, they're fucked. Like
Yeah.
they're screwed. They're screwed. Like that you saw yesterday. They don't shoot well. They
Mm-hmm.
only have one way to win, but they made a deep run last year. I think they can do it again. Um, because if they catch fire, I think it's pretty impossible
And
to
these
dude,
two probably won't see each other in the tournament
No,
until
I
very
agree.
later on.
Yeah, yeah,
Probably
they'll
both
be
one seeds.
yeah.
So it'll be a while till we see them match up in the tournament, but that'll be one hell of a tournament game when it does happen.
Definitely,
why
definitely.
I guess my question for you guys though, why is the SEC still receiving so much love? I mean, I believe seven or eight of the 16 teams the committee released was SEC teams. I mean, I don't want to hate on the SEC, but there's no way they have seven or eight teams in the top 16 in my opinion. I think Auburn's really good. I just want to be clear that I think Auburn is kind of the reason that they're getting all this attention. If you eliminate Auburn, I think they spread the SEC a lot more out. Um, but I mean, they have Tennessee and Kentucky in there. I mean, I don't think Kentucky's should be a 3 or 4 seed. I don't think Tennessee at best maybe a 3 seed. But then again, they're a home team merchant. They can't win on the road. I am high on Florida. I talk to Ned about this all the
Florida
time.
is good.
Florida, yeah, he has a Florida future. Florida's really good, especially if they stay healthy. But then you circle back on Kentucky. Their 3 starting guards were out yesterday. I mean, how are they going to be able to compete come tournament time if they're not healthy? And then we circle back to last week is you have the coaching aspect of the SEC, and then you have also the aspect of them beating up each other. Tennessee's hurt. Florida's hurt, or not? Yeah, Florida's had some injuries. Kentucky's dealing with some injuries. Auburn was without Broome, but obviously they didn't skip a beat when they had Broome, or were without him. But I mean, I still stand by it. No, they're gonna have no one in the Final Four, and their only hope is Auburn. I'm still standing by that. I said that a week and a half ago. I'll live by that. Week and a half has gone by. Their only hope is Auburn. I don't see. I think Bama's going to slip up. They're a home merchant. Kentucky home merchant. They gotta stay healthy. It's starting to get a little under my nerves, being that they have so many teams ranked up there. And I don't think they're that good.
Well, going off what you said in the beginning of it, of why do we think that the SEC gets so much love? I think Ned touched on it a little bit. Is they play fast-paced, exciting basketball, and the NCAA knows how to make money. They've done a great job at it for so long, and they know that these high-paced, fast-paced, high-scoring games are going to be the games that people enjoy watching and the best way that they can make money. So why not throw as many SEC teams into the mix as we possibly can? Because they all, I mean, yes, does Alabama and Auburn and, probably Florida in that conversation both play much faster than the rest of the SEC? I do think so. But the entire SEC conference plays that kind of fast pace. We're going to run at 100 miles an hour for the entire game and try to keep up with us. So I think that's one of the main reasons why there's so many teams in the mix at the moment, is because the NCAA knows that it's exciting and people will watch fast-paced basketball.
Yeah, that, and they're the best conference in basketball too, because did you guys not see Brody? This might be your worst take of all I've ever heard from you. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty
I've
blasphemous.
said this to you for months.
I know, and every time I hear it, it just sounds dumber and dumber, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Like I saw. Did you see the SEC ACC challenge this year? Bloodbath.
ACC is horrible.
Bloodbath.
The ACC is horrible.
The SEC out of conference this year was dominant.
ACC
in the
is
beginning of the
horrible.
year. ACC is really bad. They're dominant. It's the deepest conference in college basketball. The best games by far. They win the week every week. I love, at its peak, I think that, the best viewing is Big East basketball, but, this year especially, God, the SEC is my winner every week. I think they have the best quality games, like Carter touched on, and, I just think they're the deepest, and I think there might be 3 teams in the Final Four, 3 SEC teams. I'm a big believer in Florida. I got my 19-1 ticket, so I'm rolling with the Gators.
Well, when you look at the standings too, you'd think there's probably going to be 2 on each region as top 4 teams. So like if you have 2, maybe 3 in the top 5 of each region, you have a fairly good chance of having an SEC team come out of the region. Mm-hmm. So I think that also plays a big factor into the fact that they might have 12, 13 teams in this tournament come mid-March. I think that plays a lot into the fact that they could have a Final Four team.
I think two is definitely realistic. I think 2 is. I'm pretty sold on that. Auburn and Florida. I think Tennessee is the same team every year. Rick Barnes is a fossil. That guy, like when I watched Tennessee play and they pan over to him, I think he's gonna croak every time like they pan over to him. How do I expect that guy to handle the pressure of March?
Yeah,
he looks like he's got it.
They can't, and they can't win on the road.
Yep.
So
exactly.
What's going to happen when they're on a neutral site here?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's SEC is going to be the SEC. We'll see how the seeding kind of shapes up, but I kind of want to take a look at this seed list. I don't know if you guys have it in front of you, but something crazy was St. John's is the last 4 seed, and they're 21-3.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's
That-
disrespectful.
That's very disrespectful. Michigan, who is 20-5, was the another 4 seed.
Hmm.
All behind, both of them behind 5 SEC teams that I think they would beat them in a straight on matchup. And that's neutral site. I'm always going to take talent and coaching over the SEC or over anything else. And I think Michigan and St. John's have a more talented and better coaching than majority of these SEC coaches.
Michigan just
you-
got a good win against Ohio
You
State too.
Yeah,
mentioned
that's a good game.
you mentioned Rick Barnes is a fossil. He's a worse coach than both. I mean, I think Pitino's the best coach in all of college basketball right now. And
I mean,
I-
got his team's playing well.
Danny.
you got. I mean, I can't
Well.
even name who Texas A&M's coach is.
Buzz Williams. Dude, Buzz is a good coach, man. I don't know. We didn't even bring up Tamu, man. Tamu,
They're
they
not
got some
good
dogs.
either.
They're
They're not
always
good either.
they always play well in the tournament, man. Something about
They'll
them.
lose. They'll lose as soon as they run into an equally talented team that has a better coach. But let's do Big Ten. Michigan just beat Ohio State. I just watched
Yeah.
Bruce Thorne missed a wide open layup to tie the game and send it over to overtime. Big Ten's going to get 9 to 10 teams in as well, and all of them could make some noise, but all of them could also lose in the very first round.
Yeah.
That's kind of the big issue with the Big Ten is they could all make some noise. I mean, Wisconsin just beat Purdue at Purdue. I don't think Wisconsin's a very good basketball team. Me and Ned have talked about this a lot. Purdue's old, but they're too slow to really compete with a lot of teams. Ohio State can lose to anyone and beat anyone at the same time. I mean, it's a very up and down division. I really like Michigan's team. Aside from Michigan and Maryland, no other team in the country's putting 2 7-footers out there on the court at the same time.
Yeah,
That's-
agreed.
That's going to be tough to beat come tournament time.
I think Michigan
like-
State's the clear number
Yeah.
one team in that conference. I don't think it's close.
I mean, Michigan's up 2 games on them and already beat them.
Yeah, but Michigan State's they fell off around Christmas, New Year's. They didn't play good basketball for a couple weeks there. Now they've kind of got back on track, especially after that comeback win against Illinois last night. But Wisconsin's only lost 2 basketball games in 2025. They lost to UCLA, and they believe the other one was Maryland. I can double check on that, but they've only lost 2 games in 2025. Beating Purdue is a great win for them. They beat Oregon, I believe, when Oregon was still ranked. They beat Michigan State. I believe that was at home, but they're still. I think Wisconsin's weird because it's kind of like Indiana football a little bit. Nobody's been talking about them until the very end, and then once people start talking about them, I think that they're probably going to realize, okay, maybe this team isn't as dominant as we thought. But I'm waiting on Wisconsin. They haven't made some noise in the tournament in probably 4 or 5 years ish, maybe since
Yeah.
Frank the Tank.
Yeah. I was really impressed yesterday. I bet on Purdue.
As did I.
So
As did
yeah, I
I.
took the minus
Yeah.
5.5. I was I was sitting in my apartment, just
You also
That was-
bet
that
on
was brutal.
Illinois.
Yeah, we could get to that at the end. Like I'll go through all my.
That game was nuts.
That was horrible.
I was all
That game
over
was-
State. Yes,
I-
I did.
I was really impressed with Wisconsin yesterday. They go into Purdue. There's nothing to do with Purdue except for go to the college basketball game. So I mean, I still like Purdue. I think last year they kind of shattered the narrative around Purdue. They're chokers, and I think those are 2 teams. The Big Ten, I think in general, like not getting enough noise. There's a ton of teams like that.
Purdue's 19-7, and they got a 2 seed yesterday.
Crazy.
How is St. John's 21-3 and they're the last 4 seed? That's another biased Matt Painter situation, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
Fair. That's fair. I don't know. I'm waiting on the Big Ten. The Big Ten also might do what the Big Ten always does and has 4 or 5 top 25 teams and does absolutely nothing
Crap
in the
out,
tournament.
yeah.
So I'm waiting on that to happen as well. I hope for Tom Izzo and Michigan State's sake that doesn't happen to them because I think they're my favorite team to watch in the Big Ten at the
Yeah.
moment. But they're all over the place too. Like I said, their beginning of January was very shaky.
Very weird.
And the last night they down 4 at half and then end up winning by 14. So that's the kind of Michigan State team that we can see. That we know that they can be very dominant against a fairly good Illinois team. I mean, Illinois is not bad this year by any means. So being able, they were at home, and they lost the second half by 42-24. So it's very interesting because we can see that that's going to be the Michigan State team or the Michigan State team that lost by 4 points in the first half to that same Illinois team. So I think that, and maybe Dusty May's Michigan can do something, but besides that, I'm not really convinced.
Yeah, I could see Izzo taking a big crap in his pants come tournament time. I'm not gonna lie, it's happens. It seems to happen more so than success for that guy. So I don't know. Recently, I do like Izzo. You know, he had a great interview on Part of My Take. I think like around a year ago now, and like really opened my. He seems like a good dude, but
beat Bobby Knight's record last night for those Big Ten wins.
I can
the
see
man can win. He just doesn't do well in March for whatever reason.
You have if you had to pick a Final Four team from the Big Ten, who are you taking right now?
Michigan State.
Probably
I don't
Michigan
think
State.
Michigan can go all the way.
They're a bad matchup for every single team in this country.
They can also be a bad matchup for every team in this country, though, too, because they have guys who can run and gun like they're the best SEC team in the country, but they can also play like
it's all about
some terrible team that goes 3 for 12 from beyond the arc.
The thing is Michigan is probably, in my opinion, the most consistent team in the Big Ten now. They play the same way every game. It's not like they show up one game and don't show up another. They're playing their same brand of basketball every game. And for me, that's the reason I could see them making the most noise in the tournament, because you know they're going to go and score high 70s, low 80s with 2 7-footers, with guards that can shoot. While also they throw a couple zone looks at you. I think Dusty May has that team rolling, which sucks to say, but obviously they just beat the freaking Buckeyes. But
my only thing with that is if they play a team like let's say like a Creighton, or I'm not going to say Auburn because I think Auburn's the best team in the country, but someone like Creighton who has big guys who also can run and gun at the same time and kind of wear you out. If Michigan can't slow that down, that's where I think Michigan runs into some trouble.
I want to see teams like Creighton and Michigan though go against the middle of the pack SEC teams that are getting it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm really looking forward to this March Madness. But I don't want to talk too much about it. But ACC basketball, worst it's ever been. We've been over this multiple times. It's horrible. Cooper Flag's great. I think Clemson is flying under the radar like awesomely. Like they did the same exact thing. They did the same exact thing last year.
Yeah.
They almost had the same exact squad last year too.
It's a little weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's very weird.
I think they're gonna be trendy. They're gonna be trendy though. People are gonna think that and be like, oh, like they're gonna go to the Elite Eight again. Like I don't know. That conference is so bad. That's why like I've worries about Duke. Like. You know, just putting 105 up on, hang up 105 on Stanford. You know, like where's that gonna go? Where are you gonna go in the tournament? Is that a 2-bid league?
Yeah, no,
it's 3. It's 3, and then
Louisville
I think
is the 3.
Yeah,
I like
Louisville's 3.
Yeah,
they're getting bounced in the first round. Though. They'll be a 7 and get bounced. Yeah. The good thing about Duke is they're gonna get the 1, and so, I mean, their first 2, like I think. They're one of those teams that are going to have 2 easy routes to the Sweet 16 and then probably run into a Tennessee or Kentucky team, and that's when things get a little interesting for them. But they've proven to be able to score with anyone, but, I mean, they lost at Clemson, and Clemson kind of honestly dominated that whole game. It wasn't like Clemson came from behind to win. Clemson was in front from the start and completely dismantled Duke down the stretch at the same time.
Cooper Flagg.
I don't know if you guys. Yeah, go ahead, Ned.
I was just gonna say Cooper Flagg's the sweatiest man in college basketball. You know, the guy can't stop sweating.
So I saw something online. Do you think like we all saw that last possession for Clemson? Do you think like the managers were like, let's we know where he's gonna go with the ball. Let's leave this spot a little wet here because like
part of the game.
Yeah, it's part of the game.
Next time Mark's on, we'll have to ask him that.
Yeah, we'll have to definitely ask him.
It's a deep-rooted conspiracy for a February basketball game, but I can see it, you know.
Did either of you guys bet Clemson yesterday at all, by the way?
I did. I had a
minus 170. What I think was minus 176 or something to go out and beat Florida State by 30 was nuts. That was one of my easier bets of yesterday. I thought
that was my ladder start. But
yeah, I don't have anything else for the ACC. The ACC sucks.
Yeah,
it's
terrible. A conference that's grown on me, the Big 12. They're earning a better award with me every week in and week out. I mean, Texas Tech's good, Houston's good, Arizona's good. Houston just went into Arizona and somehow won a total of 5 minutes of the game and won that game.
Yeah.
Iowa State's decent. Kansas is overrated, very overrated.
Very overrated. Can't lose to Utah, who's terrible, and expect to have any.
They bring in money.
I mean, I get that. I understand that, but in my book,
what's the issue there?
Utah.
What's the issue
I
with that team?
have no idea. That's the thing that blows my mind.
They should be really good.
They can't shoot, dude. Have you watched? They can't shoot at all. Hunter Dickinson is their best three-point
He
shooter,
stinks.
and he stinks.
Yeah, that's terrible.
He stinks.
He stinks.
He puts up. He's one of those
also gotta
guys.
be
He's the type of
almost
guy. Numbers, but like if you watch him play, you're just like, oh my god. How old is he? 26.
He's got to be so old. I mean, because he was at Michigan for forever, and then he's been at Kansas for at least 2 years now.
He's one of those COVID boys, open to work.
Yeah,
Open
exactly.
Open to work.
I'm not as high on Houston as you guys are.
Oh.
I'm not very.
I don't know where you got that impression from.
I'm not very impressed. You guys were like amplifying them the last
I
couple
think
weeks.
they're
I was
great.
like, I think they're a very good basketball team, but I think they're the same team they are every year. They'll get to the Elite Eight and crap their pants.
That's why people don't
Disagree.
talk about him.
They can score more this year than they have in years past.
They're scoring mid-60s.
Well, yeah, in years past they scored 45 and would beat teams 45 to 25.
Who's
that
your
was
Final
their whole
Four team?
MO.
Big 12. Big 12 Final Four team.
Houston.
You have to pick one to go.
Houston. Easy.
Texas,
I don't
Texas
think
Tech.
they have one.
Texas Tech.
Houston.
I don't think they have
They're
one.
going deep. Houston plays at their pace every single game. That's the thing. They did it
Yeah,
last year.
indeed.
And they're
Yeah,
not.
I
UConn's not knocking on the door this year, fellas. You know.
Maybe
I
they are
think.
now.
I think that they can. I think this might be a year for them. I'm not gonna lie. They play at their pace every single game. Every single game. I've seen it every single game. They do these slow rock fights, right? So they were trailing the whole time yesterday, and they have so much experience down the stretch, right? If they can just keep it within a couple possessions, I trust them. I trust them more than like probably second, third most in the country down the stretch. I'm not gonna lie.
Because they wear all these teams out
Yeah.
by playing great defense all damn game. Like
So
the
active,
entire
yeah.
game, they play incredible defense. So down the line, it's like, okay, these guys are so exhausted from. I mean, playing offense against a really aggressive defensive guy the entire time is exhausting. So when your best player is getting locked up like that, he's trying to force all these bad shots, trying to be stronger and get to the rack. It's exhausting. So those last 3 or 4 minutes, these guys are dead. When Houston's like, yeah, we've just kind of slowing the game down, playing what we do, and we're not as tired as you guys. And I think that plays into their favor a ton.
It's good hoops. It's just good hoops. I mean,
Yeah.
people don't. The media doesn't talk about them. They're not flashy, but they just play good defense, and they have veteran guards that can score. These guys have been here forever. I mean, L.J. Cryer, Sharp, Roberts, like those guys are dogs, man. I'm high on Houston. I am. They're a Final Four team for me. They might be. They might get to the game, but we'll see.
They could.
You know?
They could.
Very
I don't
high.
know. We'll see.
Texas
'Cause
Tech is
they-
trendy.
They beat
Yeah.
Houston at Houston.
Yeah.
Because they play the complete opposite of what Houston
Yeah,
does.
exactly.
Is they play at 120 miles an hour.
They're a very bad matchup for Houston.
Which
That's
is why I
why-
think they'll struggle with an SEC team like Bama or Auburn.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Could do well against a team like Tennessee, who might not be
What's going to be
as
fun?
talented.
What's going to be fun with that is like, say Houston gets like the 2, they win that first game, then they're probably going to play like a 7 seed Vanderbilt or like a 7 seed. Just throw out like Ohio State out there, like something like that. I think I don't think Ohio State would beat Houston, but someone who plays fast is going to be in that 7 spot, and that 2-7 matchup in round of 32 is going to be really fun for Houston. And that's something that's like a spot I'll have circled on my board, definitely.
Yeah.
But besides that, I'm not I like Texas Tech. I like Houston. I'm not really high on Iowa State.
No, I don't
something
believe
about
in
them.
them.
I can get behind Arizona.
I could, but Arizona's been very weird this year because they were, what, preseason 12 or 13, and then completely dropped out of
Yeah.
conversation for half of November and December, and then
Yeah.
now they're kind of climbing back into the conversation.
They're a Ken Palm darling, man. I
Yeah.
bet on I bet on them. You know, like around a month ago, I bet on them a lot because they weren't getting that traction with Vegas yet.
Mm-hmm.
But here we are now.
Yeah.
I can't watch Caleb Love play basketball anymore. I'm kind of that the CTE basketball
Yeah,
of Caleb
it's-
Love. I can't
yeah.
I can't watch it anymore.
Yeah, one of my coworkers is an Arizona graduate, and he actually was at the Houston game yesterday. He flew out there with some of his buddies, which was
Yeah.
awesome. Can't wait to talk about that. But he's so mad at Caleb Love too. He's like, this kid is hurting my brain
Yeah.
with how he plays basketball, and it's like, and we're winning, so I can't be that mad about it. But it's like we shouldn't be, and
Yeah.
it's very weird. But yeah, I don't know. The Big 12 is just not the same Big 12. The Big 12 dominance is not the same as it has been in years past. You know,
Yeah.
Baylor's not in that conversation
gonna
like
say,
they have
this-
been. Kansas obviously is all over the place and really pissing me off lately. But it's a different Pac-12. Or I'm sorry, Big 12 than
Yeah.
what we're used to. I think.
All right, boys. Something I'm excited to talk about. Big East. I have some. I'm just going to say 3 headlines, and you guys can go off my 3 headlines.
Sure.
Xavier 2-0 this week.
Yeah.
Is Dan Hurley good for basketball? Why does the Big East receive no love from anyone?
Sure. I'll start with number 3.
Yeah.
I know what the problem with the Big East is. The bottom of the league is so bad. It's a 4 or 5 team league. That the bottom of that league is so bad. DePaul, Butler, you know, Providence is down
Seton
this
Hall.
year. You know, like they're just not a deep league this year. Seton Hall stinks.
Seton Hall stinks.
I mean,
They're really
maybe
bad.
not yesterday. I mean,
Yeah,
UConn's
but
down.
it's a-
UConn's
yeah,
also a
that's
little
fluke.
down. Like they're in it. They're gonna be in it. They're gonna make noise, but they're down as well.
Mhm.
But I just think like there's deeper leagues. I just think like those bottom 4 teams in the Big East are vastly worse than say in the SEC or a Big 12 or a Big 10. I just don't see that quality, and maybe that's what's hurting teams like St. John's because you're playing Butler twice a year, you're playing DePaul twice a year, you're
Yep.
playing Seton Hall twice a year. You know, it's hurting their resume. I think, having
Yeah.
those lackluster teams and that they're down. I love the Big East. And it's my favorite conference, but I have to call it how it is. Like that, those teams are bad, and it's
Just
hurting
so-
those other teams.
Just so we're clear, Butler beat Mississippi State by 15 to start the year.
Okay.
Yeah,
Who's like the 5th best team in the SEC?
Yeah, but do you think that happens now?
No.
Because I think Mississippi State probably wipes the floor.
On a
with Butler,
neutral
you know?
court, possibly. I don't think these SEC teams are good on neutral courts, guys. I don't.
But let's just look at the group of 6 and 8, 5 and 9 teams of the Big 12. West Virginia, Kansas State, Utah,
Why are we talking about the
Cincinnati.
Big 12? Where are you?
They're just 2 of the good teams. They're big conferences.
Yeah.
These are all the Butler's is also 6 and 8. Georgetown's also 6 and 8 in our conference. I don't think those guys can compete with teams like Kansas State. I think Utah is a better team than Butler does. I think West Virginia does. So
They beat
that I think is what
Mississippi State. Butler beat Mississippi State.
that's good. I'm talking
I don't
about these
understand
middle of the pack. These middle of the pack Big 12 teams. So we can go to the middle of the pack SEC teams too. I don't think the middle of the pack. I think the middle of the pack SEC teams probably whoop up on these middle of the pack. Let's look. 6 and 6 Mississippi State, 6 and 6 Kentucky, 7 and 5 Vanderbilt. I think all those teams whoop up on our 6 and 8 middle of the pack Big East teams every single night. I think that's our issue. I also think the issue is we don't have this dominant team that's been a top 3-5 team the entire year. Yes, St. John's has been good, but in years past, it's okay. Marquette's at 2. Oh, okay. They didn't look great. They dropped to 3. UConn's still at 1. Like they have these top tier teams. We don't have that this year either. Marquette's been a little bit all over the place, and we still have these tournament teams for sure.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been the same all-out dominance that it was in years past. That I
It's-
also think is making the Big East not be talked
I-
about as much.
I agree. The bottom of the Big East stinks.
Really
I'm not
bad.
disagreeing. Yeah, they're really bad. Seton, DePaul, really bad. Providence is bad. But I
yeah.
mean, it's
The other leagues are
it's
just
really
more
bad.
well-rounded.
It's
you know?
yes. You do that. You take that into factor. But then again, I'm still vouching for the top 3 teams in the Big East would be top 5 in the SEC. So
Yes.
then again, you have the argument of top
Maybe
heavy
so.
league, but I don't know. Is Dan
You
really
could, you
good?
could say that, but at the same time, it's
We'll
top
see
heavy,
in the
but they're
tournament. We
more
saw.
throughout than most.
We
Like
we'll
the
We
see
gotta
in
make
the
a bet.
tournament.
Yeah,
We'll
we
see.
gotta get a wager going on that. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
we'll
lie.
we'll
I'll do
see
something
in the
stupid.
tournament.
I'll do something
We'll s-
stupid. I'll do something
I'll do a
stupid.
wager right now. Says the Big East has a better record in the March Madness than the SEC does.
What about Final Four teams? That's been your big thing, right?
That's been my big thing. All I'm gonna do is hedge on Auburn.
Well, no,
Do you think
that's for the
Big
sake
East
of
has more than SEC. I don't think that happens.
no way.
No,
No
that's
way.
not what I. That's not. We'll do a wager later,
We're
but
gonna refine it for
I
sure.
think the Big East.
We have to. I think
I think
we
the
just don't
Big
want to
East
give the
has-
SEC its flowers, man. I know there's an agenda.
I can't
there.
wait for them to get exposed. In the tournament.
I know you don't
cannot
want to give
wait.
them their flowers. You know,
I
it's,
can't wait.
and I'm sorry, man, but it's just the reality of the
Basketball
universe we're
basketball
living in.
runs through the Big East. They run through college basketball runs through the Big East, and it's going to show in the tournament once again. The last 2 years it's shown. This year it'll show too.
Yeah,
We just need guys to get to this. We need teams like Xavier to get to the tournament to make that. And
someone's got to make a move at MSG for you guys. Like
Big
someone's got to win it that you don't expect.
Well,
Probably
like,
maybe
like
get
how
in
the bubble
Georgetown
talk.
did it a couple years ago. That came
Yeah.
in and
Yeah.
was middle of the pack all year and then won the
So-
Big East tournament.
So I was looking at the Big East tournament. Xavier's right on the 5-6 line, and here's what I was thinking. Obviously, no team has won the Big East tournament playing Wednesday since Georgetown.
Well, hold on. You didn't hit on your
Yeah,
Dan
I
Miller
want to
question.
do this. I want to do this real fast because he just brought up the tournament. If you're Xavier or Villanova, would you rather be at the 5 or 6? So the 5 would play UConn and then more than likely play St. John's. If you're at the 6, you're playing DePaul, and then you're playing Marquette on a neutral site.
6.
I'm taking the 6 all day.
6.
As Xavier,
As Xavier,
where we want Xavier, I'm taking the 5.
you're taking.
How
the
many
5
how many
point.
times have we went into the Big East tournament, not had a bye, and been like, all right, let's win a round
yeah.
or two.
Travis
we have
Steele
this
isn't our
we have
coach.
this super easy DePaul team, and
Travis
then we get
Steele
wiped the
isn't
floor.
our coach.
It happened with Sean too. We never play well when we have to play the first day of the Big East tournament ever. We
When
never.
did it
do.
happen with Sean? We got smoked against UConn. That's
No,
when we
maybe-
lost.
I'm just saying we
That- you're
historically do not do well if we don't get a bye.
I'm
we
taking the
lose to
6. I'm
teams that we
playing. I'm
shouldn't.
playing DePaul, and then I'm playing Marquette all day.
I'll never forget. I think it was maybe it was COVID year, maybe it was sophomore. I don't remember. But it was like, okay, we need to win 1, maybe 2 games if the first game isn't super dominant. We played DePaul, who had maybe 4 Big East wins on the year, and we lost. And then we went on to win the NIT. Whoop-de-doo. But okay, but we still have a lot of the same guys that played on that team.
We have
Jerome
two
was
of the
on
same
that
guys.
team. Zach was on
Two.
that team.
Those.
And all these other guys who still played in the league around then. I'm just saying, it could happen. And I don't think UConn's all that good. I'd rather play UConn than Marquette.
On a neutral site.
Because we don't need to beat St. John's at that point. If
It's-
we can beat UConn,
I don't want to
we-
touch that team in March.
Is Dan Hurley good for basketball?
Definitely.
From a money standpoint, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
College basketball needs
Needs-
guys like Danny
needs a
H,
villain.
man. That guy,
Needs a villain.
he's vintage. He's vintage, man. He is. He's bringing it back to the days of the Jim Boeheim, killing a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and then just spatting off to the media, the closest other thing we have, like Florida's coach is a perv.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
that's all
walking
we
out
got.
of Creighton and just going, I have 2 rings, and
Yeah.
fuck all you
On
guys.
dollar beer
like,
night in Omaha.
yeah,
Those
a
people
dollar-
have nothing
that-
else to
that
do.
is
Why can't Xavier do a
badass.
dollar beer night?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Dollar beer night in Omaha.
Yeah.
And Danny Hurley spoils the party.
I mean,
Yeah.
McNeely, that was supposed to be the start of their run, I think. and then they shit the bed.
I'm still very high on UConn. They will be an Elite Eight team no matter where they're at on my bracket.
Okay.
They'll be.
It really depends on if McNeely shows up or not.
He
Yeah,
got
he
in foul
was
trouble
really
in Seton
good.
Hall. That was a good
Exactly.
time. Also,
How does that
solo
happen?
ball just like solo ball
Seton
just
Hall's
like
got
killed him.
7 wins.
Yeah. That was bad.
Hassan
That's a very
Diarra
good
pisses
list.
me off.
Very
I've seen so many times where he just runs around with the ball. This is like while McNeely was out, but like so many times like end of game, right? A lot of close game. Let's have Hassan Diarra dribble in a circle and chuck up a three. Like
Just
that guy,
exercise in a terrible
he
shot.
doesn't move me at all. I'm not gonna
No.
lie. I don't know. I don't know about UConn. Something. It doesn't feel like McNeely's great, but it doesn't feel like they have that depth that they've had in years past.
You know what's going to be great about UConn is they're going to get probably a 4 or 5. They'll be right. I think they'll close at right around that line, and even then, I think their floor is probably the 7. I mean, if say they get the 7, they play that 7-10 matchup, and then you have a 7 seed UConn going against one of these 2 seed SEC teams. Just like I said a little bit ago, that matchup will be a huge circle on my board. No one wants to play UConn in the tournament. No
No.
one.
No.
They still have St. John's and Marquette though down the line, so we'll have to see how they can do with teams like that. But my other thing is too, Caravan has not been what I expected Caravan to be at all. I mean, he's had his 20-point game, sure, but he's also
He's a
had
college merchant.
terrible games where it's like, where is this guy? Where is this kid who was supposed to be one of the top players in the country this year? Like, why is he scoring 3 points against St. John's?
Yeah.
All right.
If they had him and McNeely, who can
it-
both go for 20, they're going to be a hard team to beat.
Yeah, it's tough to ask like a role player from 2 past championship teams to step up and be the guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't the guy the past few years,
No.
you know. It's not like he's a good 3-and-D guy for them, but I never thought of him as the guy. It's tough ask. Is he a senior now? It's tough ask. I think.
He's got to be.
Yeah.
He's got
It's,
to be.
uh,
But then I agree. And then maybe I was sitting there thinking, this guy's got experience. He knows how to win. Maybe, it's time for him to take the team
right,
over. And,
right.
and it'd be his UConn team this year. And
Mhm.
I just haven't seen that from him. But, yeah, very tough ask to come in and take back-to-back champions
Yeah.
and make it your team is a hard thing to do.
All right.
I don't have
let's-
anything Big East.
Let's
Yeah.
do
Anything else Big East?
Let's do a little bit of bubble talk. So Xavier had a dream day yesterday. Indiana, Vandy, Arkansas, Georgia, USC, Kansas State, BYU, SMU all lost. Which is North Carolina lost as well, which is huge. Xavier has bumped up their first 4 out. How weak is the bubble? I think this year is showing that you can't expand the tournament. For the first time in a couple of years, I think this is the year that really shows that you should not. 64 teams is great with 68 having to play in the first 4.
Yeah. Any argument that you should even touch the tournament is stupid. Why ruin a perfect thing?
Agreed.
Like with more saturation. You're just saturating the tournament. It's kind of like what they're doing, a little bit like what they're doing with the NFL, And I'll compare that to like Wild Card Weekend in MLB as well. That one game that they used to do in like MLB was awesome. The one and done
fantastic.
was
One
great.
and done.
And now
Your
that they
best pitcher out
saturated
there.
it, and the
Yeah.
product isn't as good. Like you can't even touch March Madness. It's so stupid to even think about it. And the bubble's terrible.
Yeah.
It's really bad. No one wants to get in.
Yeah. All these
Oh.
teams, I mean, 7 of the 8 first 4 out and second 4 out lost besides Xavier yesterday. 7
Yeah.
of the 8. That's
And Arkansas is going to stay in that conversation just
Just
because
because
Coach
they're
Cal's
SEC?
there now.
is
No,
the SEC.
I think it's more than that. I think it's because Coach Cal's there.
Yeah.
And they don't want to leave Coach Cal out for his first year not at Kentucky. They don't want to leave him out.
They're
So he's gonna get a natural bump because of that. I think
it's,
And they also have some quality wins.
they do.
It's
They do.
good
I
SEC
don't think they're a
opponents,
bad team. Yeah, yeah.
And
And I think Vanderbilt's in that same boat.
But it's a Calipari team. Like they're young. They're gonna pump, and they're gonna have some good draft prospects. But they have quality wins. I mean, in the best conference in college basketball. So it's hard to leave a team like that out. And an interesting team is Kansas State because they lost yesterday, but that team that's a good example. Letting a team like that hang around because no one's claiming it.
Yeah.
Everyone keeps losing. These teams all stink. So I think Xavier actually has a pretty good path.
I think Xavier's in a great position.
Yeah.
Now
we
if
don't
go,
play
it's-
anybody with
Yeah.
quality, so
Yeah.
if we can just keep winning, I think
Yeah.
that's a positive because we're going to win. And while these teams play maybe these a little bit more difficult teams in their
Yeah.
conference down the stretch, we don't have that. So it's not like
Yeah.
okay, we're going to lose games. It might not
Yeah.
be quality
Yeah.
wins, but the
Wins are
losing
wins.
column is not
Yeah.
going to hurt much.
If we had beat Villanova, we'd be in right now.
Oh yeah, okay.
We'd be in, but
Mhm.
it's fun. Xavier has 2 shitters this week. We played Butler and then.
We don't play anybody good for the rest of the year.
Yeah, we
You guys
play
got
Creighton at home.
it's got to be a win out for sure.
Yeah, we got.
And
See, I think we can lose to
Yeah,
Creighton.
we played at
obviously.
Creighton. Yeah, we played Creighton at Creighton, and that's the one game we can.
that'd be
lose.
huge.
Is that
That's
home?
huge.
Huge.
I mean, that's huge.
We got Butler and Seton Hall.
We
to
just
close
have
out the
nobody to
month,
guard
yeah.
Kalkbrenner. Nobody even close.
We got Butler and Seton Hall to finish off February this week. Those should be 2 winnable games. I mean, it'd be very upset if we lose one of those. I think that's the nail in the coffin for X.
No, yeah.
But
If we lose
Alright.
any game besides Creighton, we're out.
Yeah, it's.
And I also don't think Vandy took that big of a hit yesterday. Losing
No.
by 5 to Tennessee
Yeah.
at Tennessee when they were a 12.5-point underdog.
Yeah.
I don't think Vandy takes a huge hit from that.
No.
Along with the fact that all these other teams lost. So it's like, okay, well, you guys lost by 5 to the number, 7 team in the country or whatever Tennessee is. So I don't think they take a huge hit.
all right, boys. Who won the week? Who made the biggest jump this week?
I mean, they can't jump any higher.
Yeah.
It's the best team in the country. Oh,
Yeah.
they beat the number 2 team in the country, and they can't go any higher. So I think it's a bad answer to your question, but Auburn has had the best week. You beat the number 2 team in the country, and at their place.
I also
doesn't
think
get much better than
Wisconsin won the week.
Yep.
Um,
I was really
yeah,
impressed
yeah,
with
yeah.
Wisconsin, man. I was really mad about it. And because of course they played well because I bet on Purdue, So Wisconsin won the week. I think for me, I wrote down SEC in general. They just keep pumping. Like
Michigan won the week.
Yeah,
Beat
now
Purdue.
Ohio State win helps them.
yeah.
Anyone who lost the week? Any big losers? UConn.
That's horrible.
Yeah, that's
I'm not gonna
that's
lie.
Upset of the year.
UConn and everyone on the
7th
bubble.
win.
Yeah. My buddy went to the game. He said he went with some diehard UConn fans. Said they were like on their knees and shit. Like
Yeah, sure. That's,
Pretty
that's
pretty-
devastating.
pretty devastating. Like in New Jersey, you went to that game
that's-
to watch
That's pretty bad.
the Huskies lose. Shout out
out of
Ryan Flynn.
all the games you
Yeah.
pick,
Yeah.
that's a bad one.
He's like, what's
I-
happening right now? I don't know. It's crazy. How do you do
I-
that? Like I said earlier, it's supposed to propel this run for UConn, and oh, they're back. No,
Yeah, you take down Creighton at Creighton, and then you go and lose to
Not
6
bad.
and 18 or whatever the hell Creighton is, or
Not
Seton
bad.
Hall is. Like they're
Yeah.
terrible.
not bad.
All right.
Um,
Last segment. Stupid bets of the week.
Oh,
I'll call myself out. I had Kentucky yesterday without knowing that their 3 guards were out at Texas.
that was stupid not knowing.
Yeah, that was a very. I had Texas Southern, and then I realized you couldn't even watch that game, so that's very stupid of me.
yeah.
Yeah, anytime you bet on somebody that you can't watch, that's not
Yeah,
the
that was a rough Thursday night or whatever that was. But other than that, I had a very good week betting. I know me and Ned had like a $700 night on Friday, or at least I had myself. So very
yeah.
was much needed. So
Yeah, I was not very active Friday, but I had a pretty good day yesterday.
Yeah.
Kansas could have made it better, but
Yeah, I'll just read my whole card for this segment. Not gonna lie. We'll start Purdue -5.5.
bad too.
Georgia plus 2.5 at home. Like, oh, they're at home. They're good at home. But nope, not even fucking close. Bama money line. Yeah, no. Illinois, and then we'll round it out with Illinois -6.5. I think they lost by what, 15?
14, yeah.
14? Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even close. So I lost the week. I've been losing every week, but I'm feeling a heater. I'm feeling a heater coming for me.
You do.
So
You
the
do.
people better get ready because I got a heater
You
coming.
do.
I think I'm gonna start seeing the board really well starting on Monday.
That's
I have
Ned's
a feeling.
debut on Tailgating with the Boys.
Yeah.
He's got his
Yeah.
mind's wide open. Now.
I feel
Mind's
clear
wide
now.
open.
I got them all. I'm
Alright.
fleshing them all out, dude. I have a good story about that actually. So I was I was on the bus on spring break for college lacrosse. Now me and all my buddies are at the back of the bus. March Madness is just starting, first day. Super excited. I was only really the guy who really kind of knew what he was talking about.
Right.
So I have everyone tail my picks right for the first day of March Madness. I'm in the back of the bus with like 8 other guys. We're all tailing the same picks. 0 for 8 on the first day of March Madness.
Oh, God.
I didn't hit a single game. I
Yep.
didn't hit a single game on the first day of March
And
Madness.
at that point, they don't trust you for the rest of the tournament.
No, it's full fade. It turned into a full fade situation. So, you know,
Oh,
it's,
that's too
it's,
good.
Full
it's
fade
not
Ned.
uncommon, and I'm very excited to
Man.
share with the viewers.
No, not uncommon at all. Our
No.
buddy Teeter has a very similar. He's
Yeah, so that's just a little bit of history
he's
there.
Had a rough
Sure.
streak. In
I
college
know.
as well.
I know as things heat up down the stretch here, we'll start posting our picks. Maybe get them out there on the TikTok. That way, people kind of know what our cards look like for Saturdays and stuff. That'd be maybe something else to add. But boys, that's all I got. Ned, thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Welcome.
It's
Glad
great.
to have
It's
you.
great to have a third co-host now. Now we can venture on and get a little different personalities in here, But
Yeah.
overall, great week of hoops. March Madness is approaching, boys. It's getting close, and like I said, boys, it's always fun to go tailgating with you guys. Thanks to our listeners. Follow us on TikTok. Till next time.
Yes, sir. Thanks,
Right.
guys. I think it's done. Yeah, we're good. All right. I have to shit real bad.